What's up, everyone? If you missed the Content to Customers version 2.0 workshop that I hosted this week, I do charge for these workshops because I believe that if you pay for something and show up for the live experience, you ultimately will implement more out of it and get valuable feedback both live on the workshop and in the one-on-one follow-up with me. So I don't release the replay just to anybody. You had to have purchased a ticket to get the full replay of the event and workshop and to get that follow-up call. But it was, it was a really powerful workshop. It was a great experience for the people that did show up live. And so I just wanted to jump on a quick video. I shared a bit of the takeaways in an email today, but I wanted to shoot a quick video overviewing some of the key and important parts. This is not going to be super in-depth or long. I'm going to try to keep it under 10 minutes if I can, but I thought there was some really crucial takeaways from it that I wanted to share with everybody. So inside of Content to Customers, the thing that I think is really important to take away from this, a few key concepts here. One is just basic understanding that the power of influence and persuasion will allow you to get whatever you want in this world. And so becoming better at influence and persuasion and persuasion. If you've read any of Robert Cialdini's books, they're amazing. You should definitely check them out. That is a skill set that will allow you to succeed in any domain or area of your life. We all deal with other human beings until AI completely takes over the world. But for now, we still deal with human beings and we still crave human being and human interaction. And that skill of interacting with another person is extremely it's invaluable, really. It is the difference between succeeding and not succeeding. So social media, if you just think about it as an amplification of human interaction and connection, and you just pour into it that way, it's a powerful skill set to gain influence over a bigger audience, right? We all have potential or have potentially already developed one-on-one influence and a skill set to do it in that capacity. What allows for more leverage is the ability to do it at scale. And that's what social media is an expression of. It's an expression of other things too that I don't always love, but we can use it powerfully to create good things, to help people, to serve our audience. So one of the definitions that I went over that I think is really useful is that intelligence is really just your ability to get what you want. Your ability in life to create the outcomes that you desire, to come up with solutions to the problems you're experiencing to get what you want. And in anything, so as I go through this quick overview here, I implore you to become the chef, not just be a cook inside of your business for the rest of your life. And the differentiation there is a cook just follows the directions on the recipe, right? When you're just learning how to make quality, good tasting food, that's probably your best option. Literally just do what it says. But at some point, you need to transition into being more of a chef, right? That is, as you gain more skill set, you learn from these different recipe creators, these different cookbooks. Eventually, you turn that into your own style, and then you let that expression come out through the food that you cook, right? The food that you create. And so get out of the mindset of always being a cook and become a chef over time through taking the resources that people provide, trying them on, seeing how they go, and then iterating them for you, for your business, for your life. Because if you just continue to copy people and copy exactly what they have done, you may find initial success, but it's a recipe for long-term failure until you can become the chef of your own business and of your own life. And this is how we get out of, a stage of learned helplessness. Basically, we went over the Rocky Road experiment. I would highly recommend checking this out and looking it up for yourself. It is, in a nutshell, as human beings, we overestimate our ability to communicate with others, right? That's the biggest concept. That's the thing that you want to take away from this without getting into too much of the details. If you want that, just look up the study. But essentially, we make assumptions about what the other person we're speaking to or talking to, especially at scale, when we're talking about social media and content creation. We make assumptions about what people understand. we talk at a level as if we were talking to our peers, when the people we're trying to attract are not our peers. They don't have the background of understanding that we have inside of concepts like nutrition and fitness. So we have to be able to simplify things in our marketing and our messaging to speak directly to our ideal prospects. We went over, and I'm not going to do this in detail here, but we went over the trust lenses. You need to understand about 25% of people almost exactly fit into one of these 4 categories of how they, seek for feeling understood from the content that you create. So you want aspirational storytelling. You want actionable, like the action steps inside of your content. You want anthropological, the why, the plight of being human. You want analytical, which is showing the data. You have to understand those 4, and you need content in each one of those 4 styles. And I would only hit on one of those in each piece of content that you do create. You understand why people will take action, relative advantage, complexity, compatibility, trialability, and observability. Those are all very important. So relative advantage, why is it better than what I'm doing right now? Complexity, how complicated is this? Can I actually do it? Am I smart enough to do it? Compatibility, does it align with my identity? Trialability, can I try it? Pretty simple. Observability, can I see someone else doing it and getting results from it? Then 5 reasons people buy. It's to save time or get more time to do the other things that they want to do. They buy because it aligns with their identity. It solidifies their identity. They buy to make or save money. They buy to get more energy. And then they also buy based on reputation and increasing their own status. So you want to consider those things when you are creating content and trying to attract people to what you're doing. This is probably the most important piece of the content creation section of this training. If you don't understand this, you're going to have a really hard time getting people to take action from the content, right? You're going to just be throwing stuff out there, and even if it's getting eyeballs, it won't compel people to do anything with it. You need to understand the core belief. What is the one thing that if this person believes it, they will buy from me? If you want to dive deeper into this, check out Russell Brunson's stuff that he did in Expert Secrets. He talks a lot about this and did a really good job of it. His core belief that he got everybody behind was you're one funnel away, right? That's the messaging. He convinced everybody that if you just had a funnel, you would be successful. And so they went and bought ClickFunnels. That's what you need to figure out for your business. You also need to figure out the 3 to 5 false beliefs that your audience currently has that is keeping them from believing the thing that you want them to believe. An example of this would be if it fits your macros style coach, right? Like that's how you teach people to get results inside of what you do. If they believe that carbs are bad for them and they're currently trying keto or low carb, you're going to have a very hard time, even if you convince them to buy, actually get results inside of your program, because they have conflicting beliefs. They believe carbs are evil, and you're telling them, it doesn't matter how much you tell them till you're blue in the face. If you just try to bludgeon them with telling them that carbs aren't evil, it doesn't work. You have to change that belief first so that they buy into what you do. And again, they believe in your core belief, and then they will purchase and be a good client. When people come in having conflicting beliefs that don't align with what you do, they're terrible clients. And these are usually the people that don't want to put in the work, don't want to participate, they ghost, and they end up charging back through your payment provider. So we want to understand what are the things that they're saying to themselves around these false beliefs, what are the stories they're telling themselves, and what happened to give them that belief. Then we want to work through our content systematically over time, removing constantly and repeatedly in many different ways these false beliefs. So if you have 5 of them, all you're going to do is you're going to take these 5 false beliefs and you're going to go back to using these up here to create content to knock down those false beliefs, those 5 false beliefs, right? Carbs are bad. I go back up here. I want to do an aspirational post about how I came to the realization that carbs weren't bad, so I can tell my story or a client's story to illustrate that. I'm going to talk about the relative advantage, which would be right now, inside of what you're currently doing with low carb, keto, whatever it is, you can't eat things like cake and ice cream, at least not in the traditional way, which they're way better that way. You can't eat these foods. Like, you can't go to a birthday party with a friend and just enjoy yourself. You have to hold back or bring your own food or snacks. So that's the relative advantage, right? What's better about the way that I do it is you can still lose weight, but you can enjoy going to a birthday party and having the cake. Then, how would we relate that to one of these? Reputation would be a great one here. So you're not the weirdo at the birthday party that's not participating, that brought their own Tupperware and has to eat over in the corner while everybody else is enjoying the cake. You can go enjoy the cake and still get results, right? That's an example right there, how we would use this to create a piece of content. So systematically over time, knock those core beliefs down. You can't just do it once. You're going to have to do it over and over and over and over and over again in a variety of ways, combining those different things. Pick and choose, just keep recycling, mixing them up, changing them. There's hundreds of content ideas inside of just, scrambling those things up. The other key piece to understanding what we talked about is that in any market, there's stages of awareness. You may have heard these before. Hopefully you have. If you haven't, you're missing out on just really understanding just people in general and how any market works. And, directing people through these different stages is important to having a successful business long term. Everyone is fighting over the top 1 to 3% down here, the people that are solution aware and already looking for results. We need to be better at going to, especially this stage right here, where people are problem aware, but not yet solution aware. And we want to be able to illuminate them to the solution that we provide and why it's the best way. You don't have to spend a ton of time in the 70% here, but you want at least a few pieces of like lead magnets and content, and this is where your free stuff can live, to start to bring new people into your audience of being problem aware and then seeking out the solution. But you need to understand the stages of awareness inside of a market. That's huge. You need to understand, prospects come from being leads to prospects to customers to clients. They go through these kind of stages of they show interest, then it becomes relevant for them when we provide a very specific solution to a very specific problem, and then they explore our deeper core services or products or offerings that allow for us to build a relationship with them. And most coaches only have the first one, which is a free interest-based thing, and then try to sell people into the core for thousands of dollars, when they're missing a lot of people in this middle step of just providing relevance for them. And this really goes back to this section of the market right here. Problem aware, but they're solution unaware. We want to start to illuminate them to the solution of working with us and why coaching is the best solution to get the result that they're after. Most coaches I speak to say that they want more leads, when in reality, they just need to be more efficient with the leads that they're already getting. If you have, hundreds of people in your audience, if you combine it all up, most of us have over 1,000 people in an audience, and we're struggling to get a couple clients out of that. That's not I need a bigger audience thing. Yes, you can cover up your inefficiencies and your lack of ability to compel people to action by just getting bigger. And this is what is often taught online, is like, just go viral, get so big that you can't help but get clients out of it. And for me, what I would rather do is not so much focus on growth for growth's sake, to try to overcompensate for our lack of ability to convert the people that are already in our audience that would potentially purchase from us. Instead, because that creates a scenario where you just perpetually have to go big, like continue to grow exponentially to see the result and see steady growth in your business. And instead of and I just think that's rare, that's hard to do. While we do see certain people going viral and exploding on social media, it literally can't happen for everybody, right? That's the point. If it did happen for everybody, there wouldn't be this mystique behind going viral, by blowing up, by having massive audiences. there's not enough attention for all of us to have million person followings on these different social media platforms. So you don't need to blow up. You don't need to go viral. You don't need to have a huge audience. You need to be better at utilizing the one you already have. So when you do grow, you don't need to grow leaps and bounds forward to get clients. You just need a very systematic and strategic growth that is consistent over time in a way that when you grow by 50, 100 followers, you get clients out of that. So much more important to focus on lead efficiency, getting more of the leads you already have than just lead generation and growth for growth's sake. The big thing I want to illuminate and just tell more people about is that one-on-one high ticket, it's not a bad thing. I tell everyone that I work with to still use this, but we're all competing for the same 1 to 3% that are solution aware and ready to buy right now. So as a market saturates, as it gets more populated, as there's more and more online coaches going after the same 1 to 3% who are ready to buy right now, it gets harder and harder to find them. And the volume you have to do to find these people is pretty substantial. Like it's a volume play through and through. We're trying to get thousands and thousands of people to just find the 1% who are willing to buy a high ticket coaching service right now. There's a better way, there's a more efficient way, and that's the hybrid way, which I talk about. So it's really capitalizing on this 3 to 25% of that market that will buy something from you. They're just not ready to buy the big high ticket one-on-one coaching package yet. And so we just develop an offer around meeting that segment of the market where they're at, which I think a group and community offer is the best way to do that. It also allows for you as a solo coach to grow, to have more clients, to make more money without having to hire a team and scale through the complexity of hiring and managing people and all that stuff, and taking tons of sales calls and everything that comes along with that. So and then when you get people to buy one thing, once someone purchases something from you, they're 70% more likely to buy something else. So that's one of my biggest goals with everything that I do is I just want someone to buy something, because I know if they buy something, they're likely to buy something else, even if it's just another workshop or another short-term experience. But over time, those are also the people that are most likely to join the collective, to work with me one-on-one, is someone that has bought something from me before in the past. Not everybody that's just like consuming all the free stuff and hanging out, inside of that free loop spiral where they consume something for free, get the dopamine hit because they consumed it for free, and feel good about themselves for a little bit, but then they don't actually do anything with it. So then to feel good again, they just hop to the next free thing, and they keep consuming information in this viral loop of this dopamine spiral loop of it feels good to attend these things and consume the information, but because I didn't invest in it, I don't do anything with the information that I'm getting. That's 99.9% of people who are out there consuming everything for free. And just take an honest look at your behavior right now. How many gurus and business coaches, trainings, and resources have you downloaded? Probably hundreds of them. PDFs and documents and guides and video trainings and YouTube stuff, and opting in for this live webinar and this challenge and that thing, and all of them free. And you're just accumulating all of this time of consuming a bunch of people talking about stuff, and there's very little change in behavior for you. There's very little that you're doing about it. You're not consuming one thing for free and then taking the next 3 months to implement it. You're just going from this person's training to this person's training to this person's training to this person's training. And all the while you feel good because you're learning, you're educating yourself, but you're not executing. You're not taking action on any of the things that you are learning inside of these trainings. And so for me, that's the value in asking somebody to pay. You can take a look through my social profile and some of the stuff that is done the best and what these posts kind of look like. You could pause them and look at what they are. But really, more than anything, what I took out of them is my top performing posts are simple. They encourage people to interact or engage on my profile, and they call out very specific problems and pain points that my target market is experiencing and just illuminate a possible solution for them. Action steps to take away from this, I'm going to fly through these, but Find out the core belief. What is the thing that all your prospects need to believe in order to work with your purchase? What are the 3 to 5 false beliefs that they currently have that must be replaced? Because if their cup is currently full with all these false beliefs, there's no more room for the beliefs that they need to believe in order to buy from you. And if you don't get rid of the false beliefs and they purchase, they're going to be terrible clients. Start to build your content and stories around using the things I talked about earlier, the trust lenses, the 5 reasons people will take action, the 5 things people will buy, like why they will buy. Create the content matrix and start to create endless content that actually compels people to do things with you, not just sit there in a consumption cycle of free or just ignoring you. Then build your customer offers. We want to get somebody to take out a credit card, show intent by purchasing something. These are products that go anywhere from $7 up to $100. You can do challenges, different variations in length for different price points, workshops, masterclasses, live virtual events, and experiences for different price points. You can sell templates done for your resources and plans for different price points. You can sell assessments that come with a strategy call, a planning call that allows for them to execute on the assessment that you provided. Make sure to just do some research and find what is selling inside of your market, who you work with. Very simple to do. You can go to marketplaces like Etsy, Amazon, and other influencers who are potentially selling digital products of some kind or experiences of some kind. See what they are selling and just model it and make your own version of it and then test it in the market. You want to ask before you create. So before you put a ton of time and energy and effort into creating a perfect resource, just ask your audience, if I made this thing, would you be interested? If people say yes, go make it and then sell it to them. And it doesn't even matter what you sell it for. I would just get in the habit of finding buyers. A buyer is a buyer is a buyer. The buyer's list is the most valuable thing that you can have in your business. I would rather have a buyer's list of 1,000 people than a free opt-in list of 10,000 people, because the buyer's list is more valuable. Be a scientist in all of this. So experiment. We can't brainstorm a perfect product ahead of time. There is nothing that will survive the contact with the market. So the market tells us, right? So we want to put things out there, get noise and signal back, and then iterate and change, and then mold this around what the market is telling us, right? That's business. That's all we're really doing, is we're putting stuff out there, we're getting feedback, and we're making changes. Anyway, hope this little overview of what we went over helps. We went way more in depth on the training. If you're interested in any of the live workshops coming up, I'd love to have you on. Again, I charge for all of them because I want people to actually show up. I want them to consume the resources, but not only consume them, actually do something with them. And that's why I package most workshops too with a one-on-one call with me, where we will dive deep into game planning, exactly how you can execute the strategies from the workshop that we covered. That's why I do it that way. I would encourage you guys to consider it too. And hopefully this helps. Let me know if it does.